YouTube, it's Tone, back with another one for you. And this one is a continuation of dealing with presentments. This is the 10th video of it. We got like two more left. I think, or three more left of this. And then we're going to wrap this up and get into some other fly shit. But this is some freaking, I think it's freaking amazing information for people to know. Give you a little more confidence when you go into the courtroom to know exactly how it's going to go. Because there's a script that they have to follow, right? They're only allowed to do certain shit. And they really do need your consent the whole way. And you're gonna see as we go through these few little slides, how the whole system is really designed in the format of a question. And so that's why. And so you're gonna go there and you're gonna be asking questions too, and it's gonna be question on question. So you're gonna have them answer their own questions by answering the correct question, by answering with questions. Is strange, but that's the game. So let's get into it. Because nobody's supposed to be making claims there. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Because nobody's in a freaking position to. You got two privately contracted individuals acting as administrators for entities that do not exist. That's what's happening inside the courtroom. So nobody really has room to be making any type of claims in there. It is either the judge's private business that's going to go on in there, which is the business of the corporate state, or your private rights under public law, and it isn't going to be both. You know what I mean? So if you traverse into his business, you abandon your claim. Don't traverse, make requests instead. Avoid even the appearance of dishonor. Politely requesting rather than engaging in behavior that might be interpreted as confrontational can work wonders. 34. What is an order? Public people are acting under the premise of legislative jurisdiction. They must have delegation orders that give them authority to do what they are doing. Once you have gone through the first three questions, the name, the claim, know anyone who has a claim against me. If there is no response, then nobody has come forward with a valid claim against the one asking the questions, i.e. you. In such case, there is no cause of action, and your adversary has failed to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. So nobody's stepping up with a valid claim when you ask them to put it in correct terminology, because they always shop these things around as something else or something that they're not. So when what it really is a commercial civil claim, and so when you put it in that terminology, they're gonna have to answer the question correctly instead of the bullshit that they put on the paper and sent to your house. So 35. Where would an order of the court come from? The order would have to come from the Secretary of the Treasury, because he is liable for all the books and is the one that has appraised the security instrument. So if they do not have an order going back to the Secretary of the Treasury, they do not have any authority to collect the debt. Remember, the universal operating premise on which the legal system functions, unrebutted presumptions rule. So basically what that's saying is that they can sell you some bullshit as long as you buy it. But if you're like, yeah, no, let me see the ingredients, let me see a bill of particulars, which are going to be a itemized list of what made you believe that charge came to that price. You're going to have to show me all the elements involved that bring it up to that specific value, because there is a dollar value associated with all these charges. They're really not criminal, they're commercial in nature. That's really what it is. So when they issue a citation, complaint, information, or indictment, somebody has already established a commercial value on that instrument. Of course they did, because they're conducting business. Right? So although there might be a set of papers in the administrative process, like the court papers, and I mean, that what they're selling you is fucking securities, because they're gonna write you a ticket, they're gonna keep a copy, they're gonna send a copy to the court, and they're gonna keep a copy. What the fuck is that for, bro? That's for your fucking accounting. What the fuck you talking about? So although there might be a set of papers in the administrative process, like the court documents, we know, and reason and logic and common sense tell us that there is a set of commercial banking documents and accounts paralleling the legal. Commerce is more fundamental than law. Commerce can function without the legal system, but not vice versa. So essentially what this is saying is that commerce can be conducted without the legal system, which it can, because it has for probably millions of years, if I had to imagine. But it can't happen the other way around, because the legal system is set up for the purpose of regulating commerce. So the legal system does not exist without commerce, which means that all of this fake law that they're pushing in these courtrooms has to be commercial, because law couldn't exist without a commercial transaction having taken place. You see that? So law is a subset and derivative of commerce. There is an equivalent commercial world and universe and bookkeeping that parallels and underlies the legal judicial bookkeeping. If an indictment is issued, such as on a tax evasion, there must be an appraisal that says that the appraised value of this indictment is $100,000. And it's the same thing like that too. So if you have a fine in court and your fine is $500, they're gonna put a warrant out for you, and guess how much your bail is gonna be? $500. Then the bail can't be more than the actual fine itself. You know what I'm saying? Because the case does have a value. So that should tell you that whenever they give you a high bail, that your case is at least worth that and probably more. Okay, so think about that. So in the Treasury, whenever an indictment goes out, it claims an asset by way of the security instrument in some certain amount of 100,000. Then there is a corresponding side to the ledger sheet, which is an accounts receivable of 100,000 to back up the asset. It is not double entry bookkeeping. So what they're doing is creating a debt in your name, which is the criminal charge. Then they're going on the private side. They're going to go ahead and securitize that and draw from it on the private side because they're monetizing the debt instrument. Okay, this is what they're doing, and then they're creating securities and hoping that you never figure this shit out, so you don't tell them to give you your fucking cut. You know what I'm saying? It's all in your fucking name. It's for your benefit. You know what I mean? So if you don't address the commercial aspect of the citation, complaint, information, or indictment, then they have an asset on their books that remains. If it is not adjudicated, then they have an accounts receivable that is aging. So they'll sit there with the accounts receivable. Since you never told them to give it back to you, now they're going to go ahead and securitize that shit and sell it on the market. Okay? If you dishonor the asset, the indictment, then their books are out of whack because there is a dispute exists as to the asset and the accounts receivable of 100,000 that they are looking for remains uncollected. So they're going to have to collect that somehow. So how are they going to do it? They're going to securitize it and they're going to sell it to try to collect that to complete the book, because there's always double entry bookkeeping on every books. So you get assets and liabilities, right? So when you make an acquisition of an asset, it's a liability if you have to give it to somebody else, and it's still probably a liability if you have to maintain it and things like that too. So there's a bit of that still too involved, and that differs with each situation as far as what the ratio would be from what do you call it, liability to asset. So remember, you, i.e. your strawman, are there in your public capacity under public international law. Private rights are recognized, authorizing you as a living principal, appearing as authorized representative and attorney in fact for your client, your strawman. The real you can be damaged by the proceedings, and in addition, you have a pre-existing claim against the debtor, the alleged defendant, your strawman, such as is noticed by your UCC financing statements. But as soon as you engage in a co-business venture in their private business by traversing, dishonoring, or not accepting for value, posting bond, and discharging the charges, you are in their court in a business contract. And that's why they're always trying to put you in a position where you're going to bail out, because then essentially what you're doing is contracting with them right there at that point, and you're paying for the bond there out of your own pocket, even though they're the ones who brought up the fucking charge, so they should be liable for that, right? Since they're so confident about it, why should you have to pay? They want you to be just as confident. Why don't they put the fucking money up instead of the one bringing up the... Come on, man. So yeah, so you can ask for a promise to appear at no cost to you on behalf of your estate, your ens legis, if you will. Because it's him that has to appear, it's not you. So why the fuck should you have to be surety for a piece of paper? Come on, cut it out. So by requesting that the order of the court be released to you immediately, you are demanding that if you are there on public business involving you, then you want to know who is behind the claim. That request constitutes a public verbal demand for a bill of particulars. This would be like a detailed statement, right? This removes any assumptions, presumptions around the agreement in question. You are trying to determine the nature and cause of the claim, what it is, and who made it. 44. If you receive no response from anyone, you are entitled to make the following statement. It would appear as though I have completed my public business here today. There being no further public business to carry on, I am withdrawing. Now you're giving your equitable notice to the parties present. You turn and walk out. If anyone tries to stop you, start the 3 questions process all over again with them. I personally would not turn around. I would just fucking leave, because I heard, and I don't know how true this story is, but they look for any way that they can tell you what to do and you comply, because then that means that you're under the jurisdiction. So I heard of a man doing this process here, and as he was walking out, the judge screams at him and tells him to turn around, and he turns around and he has the bailiff go over there and fucking grab him. Why? Because he turned around. Again, giving that man the authority over him, who was a king, until he turned around, as if this man had some authority over him that he does not fucking have. But he knew by his actions that he felt that man had more power than he did, so he fucking took it. Okay, this is what the fuck this is what they're doing. Complete mindfuck black magic nonsense. It's crazy. So you don't care what the judge says. You just go on and you just go through the routine and direct it at him. Usually they will give their name to start with. Anybody who addresses anything in there is doing so in your court if you have not traversed. So, and they're the ones that are in fucking dishonor because they're the ones in there making claims and getting hostile and belligerent and all that shit. Well, so you're supposed to remain some type of what do you call it, gentleman throughout the whole process when you're dealing with a fucking a lunatic agent like that? Come on, bro, get the fuck out of here. So I mean, really, when it comes down to it, they are in dishonor the whole time. Especially if you have not traversed in the sense that you've argued with them about their charges and things like that. They are the ones that are in fucking dishonor. So you have not dishonored and have posted bond. By bonding the action through your exemption, you discharge the charges and end the controversy on the private side, thereby owning the transaction in the court. They are now your employees, and without any reality on the private side to reflect the public side is left in an untenable position. Because it has to be both sides of the ledger has to be there. If you have one side off, then the other side has to be off too. So because it has to be a mirror. So if however you start acknowledging any of their procedures in there, then they are going to assume that you are in their court and not yours. They want you to recognize, i.e., make the legal determination concerning the identity of the accuser either by body language, testimony, or otherwise, so you become a witness against yourself. Now that goes with what I was just telling you with the body language, okay? And so that shit is huge. That shit is universal. It don't matter what the fuck language you speak. If you're going through something, I can see it in your body, in your face, and all that. You should really, really learn that. A lot of these people are fake and they're scared to death, and you can see it in their eyes when you fucking look in their eyes. These people are fucking petrified. I promise you that. So if you accuse yourself, no one else is required to do so. And that's the thing. You fucking incriminate yourself with your eyes, actions, etc. Right? You're acting like a guilty person, and guess what? You're gonna get treated like one. Real simple. Real simple. So further considerations on all of this are set forth as follows. Number one, circuit courts are geared to track the circuitry of the human body. That's why it's called a circuit court. You know, that's why the prison cells are called cells, right? And they throw you in there in the with the steel doors and all that. Conduct beautifully all the energy that you're putting out as a free energy being. So circuit courts are geared to track the circuitry of the human body or the human mind, which determines structures and operates the circuitry throughout which the currency flows, which is your body and all that. So two, a direct examination is examining the conscious mind. A cross-examination examines the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is totally innocent of everything. It believes everything your conscious mind tells it. That is why people have to stay in good standing with their own consciences. And so, I mean, that's the biggest thing too, because you really can't go to jail unless you're fucking guilty. The problem is that they're so good at convincing you that you're fucking guilty that even if you're innocent, you're going to go in there with a vibe as somebody who's not sure because you fucking believe them, right? So what they are trying to do is to get you to alter the agreement between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. When that happens, your immune system breaks down. You must be totally honest to keep your immune system together. When we press them for this kind of testimony concerning their affairs, they back away. We continue to point that they must compromise their conscience when we bring the fact of the matter to them. So the law, you know, and because you're asking them as a man, like, you know, fuck this whole game, right? Fuck whatever side that you claim to represent and all that fucking nonsense, bro. Like on some real shit, do you really fucking believe what you're saying to me right now? Do you really believe that I'm guilty of whatever it is that you're saying? Like man to man, not even on no judge or whatever the fuck you think that this relationship is. Like, be real. Be real. So the law knows only the two types of persons, employees and employers, as identified by the tax identification number, SIN, SSN. So the employer is the preferred stockholder, while the employee is the common stockholder of the corporate government, the bankrupt United States, Inc. So the preferred stockholder, and I mean, you know, if you pay close mind to the documentation that you ever get from any of these agencies and shit, they change very, very often because they're switching up their, you know, they're constantly going bankrupt and just changing their corporation structure. They might change the name here, might throw a comma over here, capitalize this, lowercase this. That's what they do. So like, unless you pay mind to the actual details, you'll fucking miss the whole thing. The same thing with all your presidents and shit like that on TV. Why don't you look real close at these people every time you see them on TV? Look real close. The preferred stockholder has this position via birth certificate. The preferred stockholder holds both the debit and the credit side of the account. And you know how these fucking securities go too, right? So when you have the security, that shit is payable to the bearer. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you're able to go there and get it, because you do have a fucking claim in all of it. You do have a claim in all of it, but you do have to claim it. They're not just gonna give it to you. You have to, like, you legit have to go there and claim that shit. So a traffic ticket, for instance, represents common stock. Number 10, what the judge is doing here is attempting to get you to agree with the operational assumptions, such as agreeing to be collateral on whatever the charge is, i.e. ticket, non-filing, etc., thereby stipulating that the charge is valid. When you tender currency, which is the public exchange, you do not pay any debt. You cannot reduce a negative public charge with another negative public money. If you are faced with the fine involving a serious criminal charge and you pay with public money, it is a bribe. When you request that the court release the order to you, what you are asking them to give you is the common stock. Release the stock, the order of the court, to me immediately, which is going to be like a detailed list of the bill of particulars, right? And so that's going to look like an itemized list of whatever the charges are that bring that number up to whatever they say it is. So the order represents the one world order. For one thing, it is also a money order or possibly a work order. And what I would do, I would take that shit and stamp it and send it right over to the Treasury. I mean, that's what I would do. So whoever has presented the charge is the one with the claim. The one with the claim is the payee, right? Because they're essentially what they're doing is drawing up the charge. And what the charge really is them charging your estate. So when they hand you the bill or the charge, what they want you to do is endorse that and hand it back to them so they can cash in on it. But you can send that shit right to the Treasury Department instead. You know, or you can make them pay for it. You can cancel that shit with a 1099-C. You know what I'm saying? Send that shit to the Treasury Department with a 1040-V. They're gonna go ahead and tax these people for whatever that charge is, and they're gonna come collect that shit off of them, right? Because you could just forfeit. You could just fucking forfeit that bank. You know, bankrupt the whole situation because there is no money, and that's ultimately what it is that they're looking for. But they can't tell you that. But I will. So the order represents the one world order. For one thing, it is also a money order or possibly a work order. Whoever has presented the charge is the one with the claim. The one with the claim is the payee. So they are paying you when they bring you that. You see how your perception changes the whole situation, right? So when you accept the property for value, they are the payees because they are in possession. We're saying I accept the claim because they are holding a lien on the claim, and they have it in their possession. So they are the payees in fact. The payee, in fact, has to answer to the Internal Revenue for the funds. Accepting a charge instrument for value means that you accept the claim. I accept the claim and I am the taxpayer, in fact, because I allow them to pass through my account to discharge the charges, which is your conduit, which is your all capital straw man name. That's going to be your commercial conduit. So they have to release the order of the court to you. They have to release the claim, i.e. the money, the account, however, is already prepaid because you are the principal. They obtain the money from you in the first place since that is where all the currency and circulation derives from, you. So you already paid the claim and you are asking them to release the claim that you have already paid. Because where would they have drawn up the bill from in the first place if they didn't use your credit to drop the bill just in general? Like, if you understand fucking accounting, ask them where the fuck they even got that number from. They drew that from your estate to even come up with that number, and they use your credit to do so. And ask them what the limit is of it. Ask them what the limit is. Since they're drawing off your credit, what's the limit? So what you do is interrogate the witness. You ask the 3 magic questions and don't go beyond that. When you are interrogating a judge, you don't care what he says because anything he says can and will be used against him. He is testifying, not you. That is the essence of making testimony, because when you enter it into their courts, the situation inverts. The Miranda warning says anything you say can and will be used against you. It does not say might. The jurisdiction of the courts today is international. All commercial courts and international admiralty maritime. That means that you and I, as the owners of the account, do not do any of the work. We are the sovereigns. So our employees, which is the public officials, do the work. When there is a credit and a debit, we have 2 employees involved, one state and one federal. These employees handle the matching funds, right? And that makes you the beneficiary. And so they should handle that business for you, but you do have to fucking make them do it. They're not just going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it is a game of chess. Stop playing checkers with these clowns. That's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.